The moon's light illuminated the entrance of the cave, added by the slight glow from the cleric arcan, as we start Session 7 of Hoard of the Dragon Queen. Hello everybody, I'm Haven the Hare, and welcome to the campaign diary for Session 7 of Hoard of the Dragon Queen, with my party running through it. So, spoiler alert, if you don't want to have the first half of the third part of Hoard of the Dragon Queen ruined for you, I do recommend turn the channel, turn the page, find something else to watch, because we're going to have a whole lot of spoilers, or at least spoilers when it came to how I ran them. But if you're looking for some advice on how to run it, or want to know exactly how my party went through this, or at least the story side of how we decided to go through, feel free to keep listening. Our adventurers are about 60 or so feet inside of the cave that they found inside of the raiders' camp when we start off this mission. To sum up, they had arrived back to the raiders' camp after escaping with Lutau's friend Leoshin, getting told to go back and spy on the camp. Upon arriving back at the camp, they find it's been completely empty, except for a few mysterious figures bringing some meat around and depositing it into the cave and then camping out. They watched for many hours and decided that they were going to venture inside of it. So at this point in our adventure, they have gathered about 60 feet inside the cave, and the axe of warning carried by Hare, our barbarian, tingles everybody's senses. Lutau, being the only human and the only one in the party without dark vision, decides, as the axe starts to warn the party, he's going to backstep out of the cave and go talk to the hunters that were seen earlier. 2 points to this. He either wants to make sure that A, they're not going to box them in the cave and stop them from their escape, and B, possibly talk them into helping out. So he goes and talks with them, leaving the party. The rest of the party continues in, constantly searching, touching around. There's a glow of moonlight coming through the large entrance of the cave that is slowly starting to dwindle as they get deeper into it. Arkan, our cleric, has a slight glow to her skin as she drops her hood and pulls her gloves off, and her skin just radiates some light around her. They continue on until they get to a ledge with some stairs going down the side that leads to what looks like a fungus garden growing down below. Upon seeing this, a javelin comes flying out from the right-hand side of the cave. This draws their attention, and the whole party turns to investigate. And upon further inspection, they realize that a part of the wall was actually an optical illusion, and they see a single guard standing there. They rush that area to find there's actually 4 guards, similar to the ones they saw guarding the command tent, were just inside the mouth of this optical illusion of the cave. As the party advances on these 4 guards they found hiding in the shadows, one of them draws a dagger and proceeds to stab one of the others in the throat, killing him. This puts the other 2 remaining at odds with not only their own compatriot now that they found, as well as the party who ascends. This battle is pitched and ends quickly. Dropping her cloak, the final guard reveals herself as a tabaxi. This tabaxi introduces herself as Fire. Fire explains that recently, in the last few hours, she had come across this camp, investigating it, seeing how it had been left in ramshackles and that there was unfortunately not much left of value in the camp itself, but then seeing the cave and seeing how well it was guarded, managed to sneak in, grab one of the Dragonclaw's cloaks, and blend in with the guards for just a few moments. In that time that she was there, she realized that these guards were guarding something very mysterious. And then the adventurers walked in. But the little bit she'd heard from these guards and the ruthless behavior she had, she realized the Fire did not want to be associated with them. So given the opportunity, as the adventurers came in, seeing that these were definitely not the same, she had to reveal herself and help them out by killing off one of the guards, and now asks whether or not she might be able to help the party and continue on with them. The party reluctantly agrees, while there was a very, let's call it, intense exchange between the bard and this new rogue tabaxi. Our current rogue Remy, though, does decide that she will vouch for her and take her under her wing, and the party accepts this. They make their way down the secret tunnel they had found where the guards had been hiding. So the party comes to a little Y. To one side, they see a large empty room unlit, and down the other hallway, they see some lights and hear some conversation. Their new Tabaxi rogue, Fire, and Callie, the bard, decide they're going to investigate for the party the quiet, empty room. They make their way in to this large, empty storeroom. They see boxes and packing material and crates and broken wood and pieces and parts, kind of like everything had been packed up quickly, and what was left behind was the bits and pieces that didn't quite fit, or the building materials left behind from packaging things for transport. They find a few gold that, surprisingly, Tabaxi Fire hands off to Callie. However, surprisingly, in their searching, they find a small nest made out of miscellaneous packing materials, straw, hay, and ripped clothes. And hunkered down in this little nest in the far corner of the room, they find a sleeping red kobold. Now, Fire is intrigued by this kobold. She'd heard of them, she'd smelled them while she was here, and so she gently wakes it up and jumps back a little bit. This movement, of course, attracts Callie's attention. Callie makes her way over. Just as the kobold rolls over, ready to grab with short sword in hand, and then sees Callie and exclaims, "Ah, my friends! You came back!" And it's Eddie, the kobold that had helped them out earlier. Eddie explains to them in very hushed tones that he had snuck into the cave after they had left and made sure he was part of the kobolds left to guard the cave, but the kobolds didn't like the fact that he started the fight they couldn't win. And so he's not sleeping with the regular kobolds, and he's been sleeping up here in the treasure. But he's very happy because he gets to help guard the eggs. The eggs? Callie and Fire both say at the same time. Yes, the dragon eggs. But we can talk about that later. We can't talk here. We must stay quiet. And that's when the other side of the party had investigated the other room to find 13 raider guards and cultists. 11 of them asleep and 2 of them on the far corner playing cards. Callie, Fire, and Eddie make their way back to join the rest of the party. Remy, who had scouted the previous room by sneaking down the hallway, comes back and reports back what she has found in this barracks-looking room. Lots of lined beds, and then the 2 playing cards. So, they decide they're going to take out this guard barracks, this sleeping guard post. So Remy runs into the barracks, throwing her daggers at the 2 awake guards playing cards. She manages to miss one, hits the other, almost killing him. This, of course, arouses him to stand up and scream that they're under attack, waking the other guards up. Arkin comes in next, and using Wind Blast, blows all of the guards out of their beds and collects them all at the far end. A few of them manage to hold on, but for the most part, 10 of them are now shoved at the far end of the room. The rest of the party comes charging in, axes flailing. Nerys, I think, takes out one of the guards at this point. The one that was mostly dead from the dagger is taken out by the new Tabaxi Fire. She walks over and with her rapier. Arkin then manages to position herself smack dab in the center of them and casts Thunder Wave, which echoes throughout the entire cavern structure, but also manages to kill all but one of the raider cultists. The last one is quickly dispatched by, I want to say it was Nerys, quickly dispatched, and the party has managed to eliminate all of the guards in this barracks. They look over the room, and they decide that the party decides that they really should powwow with Eddie, but they need some kind of alarm. The new Tabaxi rogue Fire mentions she has some string and a bell. And they string that across the doorway that they hadn't explored yet coming out of that room with all of the guards. They backstep all the way back into the treasure room where they'd found Eddie. And they take a short rest, and Eddie fills them in on the fact that there are some dragon eggs down at the very end of this cavern, of this cave, and a dragon hatchery. There's other large lizards that they were breeding in here. The room they were in was the storeroom for the treasury, and that the meat they were collecting has been used to feed the giant lizards, as well as stockpiling some for both general feeding of the guards left in the caverns, as well as for the hatchlings that are about to hatch from the eggs, or will soon hatch. And that is where we decided to call it for the night. In case you didn't pick up on it and how the story happened, I did have Lutao not be able to make it tonight. Naharice wasn't able to make it, but she did Skype in, as well as I had a new player that I added. So if you're interested in how all that works, feel free to catch the DM notes of this same episode, and I'll cover how I managed to cover those things and how I was able to come up with what we did, as well as some other ideas on covering those same things, either players that don't show up or new players dropping in, as well as some of the pictures I showed while I was talking. Those are the tile pieces my wife picked up for her anniversary gift. Love my wife. And using the dry waste tiles as some of the other things that he did, as well as how I decided how things were going to play out in these first couple of rooms as they entered into the dragon hatchery. So feel free to watch those. Now, if you're interested in knowing more about the dragon eggs that Eddie mentioned, where did all the treasure go? And what did Lu Tao learn from the hunters? I invite you to tune into our next episode, which will be Session 8, and we'll see what our party does, and maybe we'll answer a few of those questions. Till then, again, I'm Haven. Oh, I totally almost forgot. I am supporting this channel all on my own. I'm trying not to have to monetize it because I hate advertising as much as anybody else. So I will advertise for myself and throw it in at the end here. So if you are interested in helping support my channel, do click on the links below where you'll find the card game that I created for the Swords of Valour 5-minute sword fight, as well as I do custom chainmail dice pouches. If you have any questions about these, do click on the link below to my Etsy store. It is, at the time of this filming anyway, getting close to the holidays, so if you're watching this just as soon as I post it, or, hey, who doesn't like to get a new dice pouch? By all means, check it out. I also do custom orders if you have any weird designs that you might want to do, and I'll let you know if I can pull it off. And I'm going to eventually make a video of actually how me making one of these. This is actually my dice pouch myself, tricolored in diagonal striping. But that being said, again, I'm Haven the Hare. Thank you so much for watching. And may you make all of life's saving throws.